Welcome to this episode of Growth on Purpose with me, Claire Chandler. This episode is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and my company, Talent Boost. I help executives and business owners get their teams working together more effectively in less time with less cultural resistance so they can accelerate their business growth on purpose. Folks, today I want to talk to you about conflict because it feels inevitable in business. Invariably, when you manage people, when you work with people, when you have customers and clients who are human beings, you will inevitably run into conflict. And our natural tendency is to avoid it, is to hide from it, is to wait it out, and is to hope that the conflict will get resolved on its own. I have had C-level executives say to me, these employees of mine are adults. They should be able to figure out how to work together more effectively. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you, and some of you in the audience are already shaking your head, that's not always the case. Even though you hire adults, our inner child kind of pops out like, when you open the biscuit can and the dough pops out, sort of the same way. Our inner child pops out and doesn't always want to play fair, or more likely feels that the other person on the other side of the issue is not playing fairly. So conflict may be inevitable, but it's not insurmountable. So how do we resolve it? Well, let me give you 3 quick ways that you can get from a place of conflict to a place of collaboration and deeper understanding so you can improve the relationships you have at work and hopefully at home as well. The first tip is to start with the end in mind. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, this all presumes that you will, in fact, face the conflict with the intention of resolving it peacefully and productively and be able to move forward. So inevitably, that involves conversation. So I want you to start that conversation with the end in mind and do a little bit of pre-thought before you just sit down and have this conversation. What is the desired outcome? What do you want to leave that conversation knowing or doing or believing or having? And it's not always that you will get 100% of your way and the other person will just acquiesce. Typically doesn't work that way. But you want to start with that end in mind. What is the desired outcome? What is the best way that this can go forward? Part of that is mindset, right? Part of that is kind of speaking out into the universe. If you're in touch with your woo side, speaking out into the universe what you desire in terms of that outcome. And the clearer you are in understanding what that looks like, first of all, you'll be able to drive the conversation toward it, and you'll also recognize it when it happens. So that's the first one. Start with the end in mind. The second is to understand both yourself and that person, where they are coming from. And there are some simple ways that you can do that. And incidentally, there are ways that you can measure that. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. But you want to understand both your and their fast lanes. How do they view the world? How do they just even unconsciously process information? Are they more big picture, or are they an immediate problem solver? Do they lead with empathy? What's kind of their superpower and what's yours? If they are very different, you're often going to find that that is really the root of the conflict. And so once you understand that, you can kind of work through that as well. You also want to understand what motivates you versus what motivates them. And again, the more you know what motivates both yourself and the other person, the more you can tap into that motivation to get what you both want out of that conversation. And you also want to understand your and their communication must-haves. Some people have to have a little bit of small talk before jumping into business. Others are much more data-driven, and they say, what are the facts that we have at hand? So understanding those must-haves and those absolute must-nots are really important as well. So that's tip 2, is understanding all of that. And the third is, in addition, starting with the end in mind and starting from an understanding of what's driving you, what motivates you, what are your must-haves, and how do you see the world, is starting from a place of common ground. So the more clearly you can understand what you want to get out of that conversation and the starting place that you are each walking into the conversation from, what is one area that you share? What is one thing you have in common? This may not be business related. This could be that you have a common sports team that you root for. This could be that you are both parents, whether of human babies or fur babies. What is that point of commonality that you can start from? It is a lot harder to maintain a conflict with someone with whom we share an interest, a belief, a motivation. So understanding all of that is going to help you to resolve conflict way more productively, way more constructively, and in a way that you feel positive about. So stop hiding from conflict. Embrace the opportunity that it presents for you to deepen a relationship with someone that you work with or someone you live with. So thanks for watching today's episode of Growth on Purpose. I hope this was valuable to you and you gained at least one tip that you can apply to your business and to your next conflict resolution conversation. This is just one small part of my proven 9-step system that I work through with clients to guide them toward building commitment, aligning leaders, and accelerating their growth. If you'd like access to my full Growth on Purpose roadmap, just click the link in the description below and make sure to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel so you get daily updates.